This video is going to show you how you can answer the questions that are on page 413 and 414. So page 413, the first question says, draw the graph of y equals 3x plus 4 for x values from 0 to 5. Now it's just like what you were doing earlier on one of the earlier pages, on page 408, and they've just written it down in a different way. What you have got here is some x numbers, and they have told you those x numbers go from 0 to 5. So you can write on here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And then, well, you've got to look at the equation here, and what's happening to the x right here at the beginning. The 3x means it's being times by 3. So there's an instruction here to times each of those by 3. And then all of those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers will be changed into 6 other numbers which you can write in. Then when you've done that, the next thing you have to do is add 4 on to each of those. So that's your next instruction, to add on 4, and then the 6 numbers you had here will turn into 6 other numbers which you can work out, and they are your y numbers, because y was 3x plus 4, which meant each x number times by 3, and when you've done that, add 4 to them. And when you've finished that and worked out those 6 numbers and those 6 numbers, what you can then do is draw out a table, the same sort you're used to. The top row will be x, and your x numbers are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And your bottom row numbers will be y, and they will be the numbers that you had here. And you can then put those in the bottom row of your table. Well, if I just work through one as an example, the first one here, it was 0 over here. When I've times it by 3, it will still be 0. Nothing times by 3 is still nothing. Then over here, when I add 4 to it, 0 plus 4 is 4. So this 4 here, my first y number, will go down here. Then you fill that in for the entire table. And then what you've got to do is to draw the graph. Now it doesn't tell you over here how far to go in each direction, except you do know the x numbers will go from 0 to 4. So if I just do a little sketch over here, you know your x numbers need to go from 0 to 4. When you have completed this table, you'll see whether you have any minus numbers here or not. If you don't have any minus numbers, then you don't need this bottom part of the graph, and you can just go up. Let me just have a look at what would happen here if I continue to work through. I've already used that number 0. If I start with the number 5 here, 5 times by 3 would have given me 15, so the last number there would be 15. And 15 add 4 is 19. So you know already you've got to be able to go from 4 up to 19. So let's just take this now and say we're going to go up to 20. We don't need any minus numbers, and I know for this one you don't need any minus numbers, you shouldn't have any here, so we don't need that part of the graph. So what we need to do on graph paper is go from 0 up to 20 and across to 4. Now you might want to go 20 squares up, or you might, just to save a bit of time, go 10 squares up and then go up in 2s, for example 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 and 20. Those are your y numbers. And then go along here, 4 squares for 1, 2, 3 and 4. They're your x numbers. You don't have to use the same scale going along as going up. Here I've used 1 square for each number. Here I've used 1 square for 2 numbers. You don't have to have them the same up the side as you do along the bottom. So what do I know so far? Well, I've just worked out earlier on that my first point is going to be x is 0, y is 4, which means along nothing and up 4. So I can put that point in. If you finish this off, you'll get the other numbers to go here. So 1 along, you'll know how many to go up. 2 along, you'll know how many to go up. And I worked out that when x was 5, my y number would be 19. So when x was 5, actually I need to go along 5, don't I, not 4. Add that extra 1 in there, go along to 5, change that, put my 5 in there for my x numbers. Change that there to 5 as well, that's what that should have been. So when I go along to 5, I know I need to go up 19. Well, 19 is halfway between 18 and 20, so come up above 5, halfway up would be there. And you should have a whole set of crosses, 6 crosses in all, and you should be able to join those up with a straight line. So all that was different on this page, page 413, was the questions were written down like that without this flow diagram sort of bit done for you. And you've got to be able to make sure you can do that flow diagram bit yourself to help you get the points you need so you can plot your graph. So if we look at another of these questions, if we look at, for example, the next one for now, question 2, this tells you, they've written it down slightly differently, but this means you need X numbers going from 0 to 5. So you can start your diagram off with an X, then an arrow, and the numbers on that arrow will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. The first thing you do to the X, here the 2X means the first thing that's going to go here is you times by 2. Then you're going to get a new number for each of these, so there are 6 numbers there. There'll be 6 new numbers that you have to work out. Then your next instruction here is to take away 5. So in there, take away 5, and then you will get another 6 numbers, and those will be your final numbers. They will be your Y numbers. So what you will need to do then is to draw out your table with your X numbers of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and your Y numbers, which will be these numbers, they will go in here. And then when you come to do your graph, you'll certainly go along from 0 to 5. They're your X numbers. You'll then know what your smallest and biggest Y numbers are, and then you can work out how far up and down you need to go, and then you can plot your points. Remember, this number and this number make 1 point. That's your long number, that's your up or down number. Only go down if it's minus. So your next point will come from here and here. That's your long number, that's your up or down number. Up for a plus number, a normal number, down for a minus number. If we look at question 3, on your diagram, you're starting with X numbers. Now this time they're saying you want X numbers to be from 0 to 10. There's no need to do all of them. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I would just skip some and do 0, 2, 4, 6 and 8 and 10. That's quite enough to have 6 numbers. In your first box, because X is over 2, that means you are dividing by 2. Then you will get your next 6 numbers. I'm just going to put 1 question mark down now, but there should be 6 numbers there. And then your next instruction here is taking away 3. So your next box is taking away 3. You'll get another 6 numbers out of there. They will be your Y numbers. You can put those into your table. You can then plot your points and you can draw your graph. So that's a timesing. Your first instruction there will be I'll start that again. Your instruction there will be X times by 3, and then you're adding 5. And it tells you for question 4, your X numbers go from -3 to +3. So when you start off your diagram, you need the numbers from -3 up to +3. Now you could have all of them, or you could just say, I'm going to miss some of them out and have -3, miss 1, -1, miss 1 out, 1, and then 3, and just work with 4 numbers on that arrow. And then your next instruction will be, that means timesing by 3, then you'll have an arrow, and your next instruction will be adding 5, and then you'll end up with your Y numbers. So question 5, that's a dividing by 3, your first step. Your numbers need to go from -6 to 6. Well, I definitely didn't do all of them. If you're going from -6 to 6, you might just want to do -6, -3, 0, 3 and 6. 5 points would be quite enough. So I had a number, I've missed 2 out each time. That's quite okay. In question 6, you've got to do 2 of these. So you'll have one set of diagrams, so one flowchart and table for that equation. You'll have another flowchart and table for that equation. You'll use the X numbers 0 to 5 in each flowchart and each table. And you're to draw both of your lines from joining up your crosses on just the one diagram. And if it says at which points do they intersect, that means where do the two lines cross. So hopefully that's enough information to get you started on page 413.